alayhi, revealing his leg or his thigh, as narrated by Aisha radiAllahu ta'ala anha. And Abu Bakr, he enters, and the Prophet Muhammad does not move. Umar enters, and he does not move. When Uthman ibn Affan, he enters, فَجَلَسَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم فَسَوَّ ثِيَابَهُ. He sat up, and he placed his clothes correctly. And here, certain misconceptions should be highlighted. That some of the people who follow the fiqh of Imam Malik, rahmatullahi, alayhi, have gone to this opinion that the fakhr or the fakhid, the thigh, is not from the awrah. To reveal your thigh is permissible. This is an incorrect opinion according to the jamhur or the majority of the ulama, that your thigh is a part of your awrah and should not be revealed to anybody. As for the meaning of the hadith, is fakhidayhi aw saqihi. As many of the shuraf hadith highlight, that the hadith highlights that his calf or his leg was showing, not his actual thigh. And the third thing that they highlight, فَسَوَّ ثِيَابَهُ, he corrected his clothing, meaning that his leg was not even showing, just his overgarment was lifted, but his sirwal, his trousers were still there, and he placed his shirt over his leg, meaning no part of his blessed body was being revealed in the first place. Why did he do that? As Aisha radiAllahu anha poses this question, you didn't do anything. You didn't move when Abu Bakr entered. You didn't move when Umar entered. Why did you do such an action? And he stated, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَلَا أَسْتَحْيِ مِنْ رَجُلٍ تَسْتَحْيِ مِنْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Should I not feel shy of an individual that even the angels feel shy in his company? And that's why in another hadith that we find, if I didn't do the action, just by looking at me sitting in that manner, he had so much shyness and modesty to find me sitting, if possible, in an incorrect manner, he would not pose his hajah. He would not pose what he wanted. He would not pose his question. So I sat up for Uthman ibn Affan. As for what do we learn from this hadith? إِنَّ مِمَّا أَدْرَكَ النَّاسُ مِنْ كَلَامِ النُّبُوَّةِ الْأُولَى. The first words of prophethood that we should take a lesson from, that humanity has not taken a lesson from, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِي فَاسْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. If you don't have no shame, do whatever you want to do. Rawahu Imam Muslim. In this heat that we find, that these people have no shame, that they will do whatever they want to do, and dress whatever they want to do. And here it's debatable whether the leg or the thigh of the Prophet Muhammad was showing or not. Yet he placed his clothes. And how many of us show that type of shame? That al-haya'u min al-iman, modesty and shame and dignity is part of iman. Whether it be one man towards another man, or a woman towards another woman, or towards the opposite sex. That we should have this sense of shyness and dignity, not to be behaving in this manner. These are some of the extractions and the lessons that we can learn from the life of Uthman ibn Affan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place these words in our mizan of hasanat, and give us a tawfiq and ability to implement these words to the best of our ability, and follow that path and the methodology of the prophets before us and the khulafa ar-rashidin al-mahdiyyin. Inna Allahu malaikatu yusalluna ala an-nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. قوموا لصلاتكم يرحمكم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الحدي حدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and coming to the completion of the golden years of Al-Islam in the seerah or the life of those nubala, Al-Khulafa Al-Rashideen Al-Mahdiyeen, there are four great Khulafa who trod on this planet and left behind a great turath, a great heritage for this Muslim Ummah to look towards them. That's why we find the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, alaykum bi sunnati wa sunnati al-khulafa'i ar-rashidin al-mahdiyyin addu alayha bin nawajid. Upon you to take my sunnah and the sunnah of the four or the rightly guided khulafa, hold fast to their teachings or to the sunnah that they mention. Addu alayha bin nawajid, hold fast to it with your molar teeth. And that's why we come to the final Khalifa, none other than Ali ibn Abi Talib radiAllahu ta'ala anhu, that we find that he is from amongst the family of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And to show love and affection to his family is a part of Iman. In more detail, to those of his family members who believed in Al-Islam, who struggled with him and sacrificed and laid down their lives for the sake of this deen, seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And amongst those people who claim to be followers or members of his family, that is laqab that we find, and as Sayyid, that I am from the noble family or the lineage of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Firstly, these people have to prove their authenticity, that does their lineage really go back to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And what does it mean? That even if you are from his family, that you claim to be a Sayyid, does that mean that the Sharia of Islam is lifted from you? That the laws and regulations don't apply to you? And likewise we find those people who claim, because we are the people of Mecca, we are people who are born in the noble land, we have a preference over the rest of humanity. And this is nothing but asabiyah, nationalism, wa jahiliyyah, and the days of ignorance. Afa hukmul jahiliyyati yabghun. Do you return back to the ways of jahiliyyah, of governance, of ruling, and all forms of etiquettes? Because there is no fadl of an Arab over an Ajami, of an Arab over a non-Arab, nor is a non-Arab better than an Arab, illa bittaqwallah, except for the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this lesson has to go out to these people who forever claim that they have a preference either because they belong to the family of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or quite simply because these people are the Arabs, or they are closer to the teachings of Islam. And this has been highlighted inside the Quran about these Bedouin people who claim such a sanctity. Al-A'rabu ashaddu kufran wa nifaqa, that the Arabs are the most extreme in their kufr and their hypocrisy. And likewise we find the opposite. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and amongst those who do believe Allah in His last day. And the tafsir of this can be explained by the words of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Al-Arab afdalu nas idha faqihu. The Arabs are the most best of people. Ahsanu nas, if they understand the teaching of Islam. And likewise the opposite. Akhbathu nas, the most wretched and the most filthy of society, if they stay away from the teachings of Islam. is the way the great Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah described the Qawmiyah al-Arabiyyah, how these people give preference to themselves over the rest of humanity. And we find, inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most noble of you in front of the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who adopts the taqwa, the consciousness, and sticks to the hudud, sticks to the halal, and avoids the haram. Is the individual or the people in society who are raised up by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as for this onslaught that we find upon Ahlul Sunnah, that we don't show love and affection to the members of the Prophet Muhammad salallahu alayhi wasallam, and this throwing of such statements is none other than the people of Ahlul Bid'ah, the people of innovation, people of who are the followers or have the teachings of the Rawafid or Ithna Ashariya, or that in common days that we find people are classified as Ahlul Shia.